So Angry Marks Podcast Network fans, just one question for you. Have you signed up for WrestleWork yet? WrestleWork is the social media destination where professional wrestling fans, promotions, and wrestlers can come together, interact, and share their passion for professional wrestling. You can sign up today for free at WrestleWork.com.
You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It is April 11th, 2015, and it's another episode of the Impact Implosion here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. As always, I am Seth Draken, and on the other end is Mike Pullen.
And I hope you tax cheats pay your taxes on time.
Yeah. So, did we have any news?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't think we did, so... No, not really, so... Yeah, no news.
TNA Hardcore Justice one night only.
Yep.
Where we start with where we have Josh Matthews on commentary with Borash.
Yep.
No Taz.
No Taz at all. And we have a ladder match between the Wolves versus Manic and the Great Sonata. Winner gets a future tag team title shot, which is kind of funny at this point because the Wolves were the tag champs.
Weird.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Could have been longer, but I think we'll get into why the one problem I saw with this show when we talk about the timing of the gauntlet match.
Oh, yeah. We had Jeremy Borash compare James Storm to J.K. Simmons from Whiplash.
Oh, yes, that's the reference he was making.
Yeah. I don't know. James Storm didn't curse like...
Well, if he cursed, it would be censored.
Oh, yeah.
And the finish is Davey with the super kicks in the ladder for Manic and Sonata, and then Eddie crushes him with a double stomp, and then Davey climbs the ladder.
Uh-huh.
Eddie, who had gotten misted like 2 minutes before.
Yeah, and this
Davey used his wrist tape to clean his eyes out.
And apparently this would be one of the last times we'd see Sonata ever, because we'll get to that on...
You'll never be mentioned again. And our next match is Drew Galloway and Kenny King, but we have Drew Galloway backstage with Borash, who's doing both interviews and commentary.
Hopefully he had that magic skateboard this time, like he did at that one show.
That's the last extravaganza.
Yeah.
He's like teleporting from one side of the building to the other.
Yep.
I'm sure they probably edit in the commentary or something.
Actually, I forgot to mention this. The Sunset Powerbomb off the ladder onto another ladder that didn't break.
Yes, the Japanese ladder.
Yep.
It does not sell.
No, it does not.
And we have a pipe on a pole match next with Drew Galloway and Kenny King.
Let me say this. This was pointless.
Oh, I was just going to say, because the pipe doesn't even come into play.
No.
Pretty much.
Not at all. Someone grabs the pipe and then they get pinned.
Yes, Kenny King grabs a pipe, takes a boot to the face, and gets pinned. Next.
By the way, Kenny King got held by the members of the crowd to deliver some chops.
And they also introduced the rubber chicken, which was the most over part of the show.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Oh, God, that rubber chicken. So, we're getting a Monsters... Well, actually, EC3 will face Rockstar Spud in a first Spud match, and Spud talks about bleeding and getting his head shaved in his own country.
You're going to remember the name of your former best friend, Rockstar Spud. What is he, Gold Dust?
So next we have a tables match between Eric Young and a mystery opponent.
Gunner.
Fucking Gunner.
You couldn't put anybody else in here.
Nope.
And
one of the only moments we had the crowd chanting, "Use the chicken." Gunner does that and tries to choke EY with the chicken.
And he choked his chicken.
Yep.
Or whatever Josh Matthews said. He's choking him with the chicken, by God. And Eric Young wins with the Rhino-esque pile driver off the apron through the table.
After a low blow.
Yep. Next is a video package for Gail Kim and Havoc. And
this was really short.
Another match that's affected by the Gauntlet match that we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
this is only like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
It could have been longer with more weapons.
Yeah, and Gail Kim won with the Eat Defeat.
TNA props department making some extra, probably making less money than they usually do. They set up these weapons and half of them don't get used.
Mm-hmm. So how are the Wolves going to celebrate their ladder match? By going to Sizzler. Yep.
Well, they're out. They can't say Disney World. They're already there.
Well, they're at Universal Studios, and I'm sure Universal Studios, who's a rival to Disney World, so would be pissed.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and we have the
Monsters Ball between Abyss and Matt Hardy. Look, you could basically have a bingo sheet of the spots for this match.
Which match is more stale at this point? Monsters Ball or Ultimate X?
Monsters Ball. You can at least do something with Ultimate X still.
That's because you know what you're going to see in the Monsters Ball matches. You're going to see tax.
Here you go. You got a trash can to the head. Parts of the chair hits Abyss in the balls. You get someone goes through the barbed wire board.
There was 2 barbed wire boards for some reason.
Yeah. You get Abyss introducing the tax. You get a cheese grater to the balls.
Yep.
You get someone going into the tax. You get Abyss bleeding in the arm. You get him introducing Janice. You get him missing with Janice. And you get Abyss.
He always misses with Janice because if he hits with Janice, he's going to kill somebody.
Yeah. And then you get Abyss losing.
The twist of fate.
Yep. That's your bingo.
And the Gauntlet match is next.
But first, we got James Storm getting interviewed, talking about the man on the white horse and all that. Okay, James Storm, we get it. You're a huge fan of Johnny Cash.
And this is the part of the show where I'm like, oh, God, this is 30 minutes almost. And you could have shaved a lot of time off this by just doing, you had guys that are in teams. You had the bromance, you had the menagerie still hanging out there, and you had Storm and Koya. You could have thrown in Anderson and Melendez and just done like tag
match,
a 4-way match. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Let's talk about this match. Robbie E has a selfie stick.
I'm gonna get on Facebook and message my friend Vern Bacallo, who wrestles in the Northeast, and tell him he needs to do that as a gimmick.
We have Crazy Steve, who has something in the bag. It's gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Fucking
These weapons
gummy bears.
are so stupid.
You are not Los Ice Creams, and you cannot do the freaking sprinkles as weapons.
The weapons in this match are stupid.
And the friends are chanting gummy bears. Robbie E looks at this, cannot believe this, eats one of the gummy bears, but apparently the gummy bears are laced with something.
Cocaine?
I don't know, but Robbie E gets chokeslammed onto the gummy bears.
Also in this, we have
Jesse, who has a baseball bat. At least he has a practical weapon.
Also, I forgot to mention this. Apparently the One Night Only Joker's Wild already aired somehow, even though it wasn't shown in the U.S.
Yeah, we have Jesse choking Steve with the baseball bat while Robbie E is throwing gummy bears at him.
Oh, God.
And Robbie E, of course, because he broke the selfie stick.
Ugh.
So Burmans go to throw Crazy Steve over the top rope, but Steve does the skinning of the cat spot. And then we have Sergeant Melendez.
With a nightstick, which you're not the big boss man, Chris.
Yeah. And then we had rapey-faced Samuel Shaw.
Who's still employed by the company.
Yes, that was, I could not believe it. He came out with that smile, and then he had some wire, and he was walking down with that smile. And I was like, rapey face.
Hanging out somewhere in the building.
Yes, Koya comes out with the flag.
What is he going to do unless he takes the little thing off the flag and just uses the stick? What kind of weapon is that?
The crowd is happy because Samuel Shaw has introduced the damn rubber chicken.
Oh, God.
And Josh Matthews said rubber chicken is trending, even though it's not.
So, yeah, I was going to say I doubt that.
Crazy Steve is shoving the rubber chicken into Jesse's mouth.
That's been in the crowd. That's probably not very sanitary.
And then he is choking Robbie E with the rubber chicken.
Again, he's choking him with the chicken.
And then number 7 is Crimson.
Yes, he's
You
back.
know, I'm actually, thank God that Crimson's here, considering everybody else that came in. Oh, and he has a trash can lid as a weapon.
Yeah.
But of course, we have a moment where Robbie Steve is Crazy Steve is using a rubber chicken onto Robbie E's balls.
Yes. Next.
Then we had Tyrus with a chain.
Because, really, when does a 350-pound man need a weapon?
Robbie E tries to act like Lex Luger onto freaking Tyrus and gets eliminated for it.
Uh-huh.
Then Sergeant Melendez is supposed to get eliminated, but he hangs onto his damn shirt. But then he gets eliminated afterwards.
And he still gets eliminated.
Yep. Then we had Nux with a cane.
Yep.
Nux eliminates Jesse.
Only thing missing is a top hat.
We had Crazy Steve now gagging Samuel Shaw with the chicken.
Yes.
Then James Storm comes out with a bull rope and a cowbell.
I love James Storm's theme, by the way.
Yeah. James Storm decides, screw this, I'm sitting down.
He should have just waited until everybody else got out there. The last two guys came out.
Crimson and Samuel Shaw eliminate each other.
Yay.
Before the next guy comes out, James Storm finally enters the ring. Then we had DJ Z with body spray.
Hairspray. He had tag with him. He had arrogance.
Yeah. The crowd still wants people to use the goddamn rubber chicken. And James Storm looks at the rubber chicken and slams it with a trash can.
Yes.
And then he rips the rubber chicken's head off and gets rid of it. Unfortunately, it will be used later again, but sadly, the rubber chicken was more over than Roman Reigns.
Probably has more personality.
Had Mr. Anderson, who comes out without a weapon.
I don't have a weapon. I wonder whatever will I use.
Takes the ceiling mic fan and realizes he needs that a weapon, so he uses that. And he goes to town on everybody with it.
Thank God he was the last guy in this thing.
And despite the mic not being attached to anything, he still announces his name.
Yes.
Crazy Steve is able to use DJ Z's own spray against him and eliminate him.
Yes.
Then Koya eliminates Crazy Steve. Nux is eliminated by James Storm and Koya. Anderson is all alone against 3 heels. Koya charges like an idiot and gets eliminated.
Well, that's one way to get him out.
Then James Storm tries to use a last call super kick onto Mr. Anderson, but he moves and Storm hits Tyrus in the stomach instead. Tyrus tries skinning the cat.
I shit you that size. A man that size.
Anderson looks at him like, what the hell are you doing? And bites him to eliminate him.
A man that size, trying to defy gravity.
I know. Koya grabs Mr. Anderson's leg because he never left. And James Storm is able to eliminate him for the victory.
Yes.
And then James Storm celebrates. Mr. Anderson comes back and irritates James Storm by giving him a shoulder rub and massage. What? James Storm goes to punch him, but Anderson...
I thought Samuel Shaw was already eliminated.
No. Anderson hits him with the mic check and then shoves gummy bears into James Storm's tights from behind.
Ew, that's a terrible visual.
Then we had JB talking about it, and EC3 shows up, and he's like, what are you doing here? And EC3's like, I'm here for an interview. I'm in for my interview. And JB's like, you can interview yourself. And I'm like, okay, I can interview myself. I can do that. Much like I did.
It'll make the segment go by a lot faster.
Yeah, I love the fact that EC3 acts so awkward. Like, this is awkward even for him. Like, I'm here for my interview?
It's like somebody going to a job interview.
Yeah. So he's like, I did all that stuff to Rockstar Spud, and I'm going to make him bleed. And oh yeah, I have old Betsy with me.
Old Betsy, baby.
So, like EC3 that says that tonight, just like ever, no one makes me bleed my own blood, except that one time Bully Ray did that.
Yeah, but we're not supposed to remember him. He's not in the company no more.
I know. So next up is the first blood match between EC3 and Rockstar Spud.
The hair match was better.
Yeah, absolutely. EC3 cuts a promo, calling himself the unbeaten hardcore American icon. Crowd says chicken is better.
Shut up.
EC3 tries to get Spud to leave because he has a dinner date at a 5-star restaurant. Spud's response is, well, hits him with the microphone.
And the match starts. And it starts off with the referee saying, "Are you bleeding?" Nope.
Yep. By the way, these two, for most of the part, actually go for the head.
Good psychology.
So Spud slams EC3's head into a fan's shoe. Someone brings back the damn chicken, but
and EC3 throws it to the other side of the crowd.
And it never returns. EC3's like, "Oh, you want this? No. No, we're done with this rubber chicken." And the crowds are like, "We want chicken. Go to KFC if you want it so much."
Yes.
Tyrus comes out to interfere, but as EC3 is getting beat up, ref is down.
These first blood finishes when a heel wins are always so convoluted.
The Spud gets EC3 to bleed from the mouth.
But there's no ref.
No ref.
Even though he's clearly
Tyrus covers it up with the towel. It gives EC3 a chain, which he uses on Spud. Spud wouldn't bleed immediately, so the ref, EC3, keeps beating him up until finally he bleeds. This was good, but not as good as their London encounter.
Well, their London encounter had like 20 minutes to use, too.
Oh, yeah. Mm. Yeah. Next up is a steel cage match between Bram and Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, this match.
This was pointless.
This to kill time, but you didn't need this because you had a last man standing match that you could have had go like 20 minutes if you didn't have this match.
Dreamer admitted that he was old and fat.
But I'm also hardcore.
Yeah. Dreamer then uses a goofy-ass Trojan war hat and drinks a Coke.
He did this on the last one night only pay-per-view that nobody saw.
Yeah. She's Greater is back, and both men finally get into the cage.
And we have a few weapons. Yeah, we have a kendo stick, a garbage can, and She's Greater.
Yeah. She's Greater was never used. So Jake talks about how great a British talent, how all the great British talent in TNA, but forgets to mention the first English-born world champion in Magnus.
Who probably would have been a better fit for this match, but he wasn't on the show.
I know. He mentions Bram. He mentions Rockstar Spud. I think he meant, I forget who else he mentions, but he does not mention the guy that won the world title.
Nope. He does not deserve to be mentioned.
So Bram hits the brighter side of suffering onto the chair for the victory.
Terrible.
Yes.
Didn't need to happen.
JB talks to Bobby Roode, who is facing Franklin the Turtle in a last man standing match.
And this is the one thing I'm liking about these one night onlys recently that we've seen is that they're focusing on at least rivalries from the last at least 6 months to a year instead of it being random matches.
Oh yeah. So, well, some of them are random matches, but some of them aren't. Bobby Roode says all their matches have been classic, and this one will be no exception.
Yes, but not all of them have been good.
Yes. Let's go, Bobby. Bobby sucks dual chance.
Which Bobby are you talking about, people?
Yeah, I know. This creates quite a conundrum because both their names are technically Bobby. So Franklin breaks out a Dragon Sleeper.
Hey!
Gets 9 on that. Roode then hits an old school sleeper hold, which Franklin has to break up at 9.
There's no one. He has no hair, so there's no one that he can't have his hair cut after the match.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Franklin hits a running power slam. Only gets 8. So sleeper hold 9, running power slam or dragon sleeper 9, running power slam 8.
Takes an extra second to recover from a sleeper hold.
Yep. Superplex. Both men are down. You get an 8 count. Double R spine buster. You get an 8 count. So sleeper hold more effective than the spine buster.
Yep.
Franklin
and then they go to the floor.
His own 8 count. Roode with the spear 8 count. Franklin hits Roode with his own Roode bomb, and that gets a 9 count. Spear by Franklin also gets a 9 count. But this time Roode goes out of the ring. Franklin goes to hit another spear, hits the steps. Then Roode hits a Roode bomb, and that's the way. And they did the old Rocky 2 situation where both men were down at 9, and Roode.
Which they do in every last man standing match, by the way.
Yep. Yeah. which Rude got up at before Franklin, and Rude won. This was actually pretty good.
Yes. This and probably their first match are the best two out of the series.
Yes.
Yep. And the next one night only is Extravaganza.
Uh-huh.
Which will be airing sometime next month.
Yep.
What do you grade this?
Like I said, a C.
Yeah, I would probably knock a bunch of points off of the Gauntlet because there's other stuff you could have done with some of the guys in this match.
The fucking Gauntlet match. Just Jesus.
Especially with the fact that everybody else is using all the other weapons, so there are no good weapons in this match. I mean, seriously, they use gummy bears.
Gummy bears!
Anyway, on to Impact.
On to Impact. Here comes Kurt Angle, and he does have some explaining to do. Actually, no, it was Brian Hebner's fault because of his lazy officiating.
So why didn't he come out?
I don't know, but Franklin comes out and says, basically, you can't take that win, and he's like, no.
You can't take that win, Kurt. I want a rematch, Kurt. And here comes Eric Young. He's like,
okay. And Eric Young comes out and is like, no. I'm number one in the rankings.
Wait, really? When did that happen?
Yes.
That was never established.
Yes, it was established. They had the rankings. If you have the YouTube, they bring up the rankings. EY was number one.
Bring that up on TV, though.
I know. Yeah, EY was number one.
That's why these ranking systems never work.
I know, so EY's trying to mess with the turtle, but it's Franklin, and Franklin kicks his ass.
And then Spears Angle, and that sets up a three-way for later tonight.
We then go to a commercial break where we have the Icon Sting, TNA Hall of Famer, WrestleMania jobber.
Yeah, they need to do DVDs on like the knockouts and stuff, and not Sting.
I know.
Do DVDs on people in your company.
We go back to Kurt still in the ring saying, all right, Franklin, you got screwed tonight. Ari, EY, you think you got screwed? Tonight. We're doing a three-way. Nobody can beat me. EC3 would beg to disagree.
And he'll get his shot eventually.
Yeah, so number one contenders match between Gail Kim and Awesome Kong.
This was good.
Except for Joss and Taz.
Yes, if you watch the match on mute.
Yes. Chalice thinks people shouldn't respect each other. That is what I'm getting from his damn diatribe.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I can't even defend that. Never mind.
Awesome Kong wins.
After blocking a Frankensteiner with a powerbomb and kicking out of feet.
So backstage, James Storm.
Get a shot at Taron in 2 weeks when they do the Total Knockouts Only special.
Yep. So James Storm is trying to be nice to Mickie James. I see evil tensions in Storm. And then Manic goes up.
They're teasing Storm and Magnus as a feud.
And then they're going to do Manic asking, because he screws up here, Manic asks James Storm, what's up with Mickey Bay?
What the hell is Bay?
He doesn't say James, he says Bay. As in Michael Bay's sister or something?
Get the name of your people right.
No, Bay is a nickname for baby or girlfriend. It's slang.
It's stupid.
Yes, it is stupid.
It's also a meme of some sort.
Well, it's become a meme because it's stupid slang.
Right.
So anyway, James Storm is pissed and shoved nachos down Maddox and says, "Don't you question me."
And tell the boys to get out there because we're gonna have a talk.
Yep. In the ring, Storm I had a great plan for your revolution, but you've all let me down, and I'm tired of babysitting you. So says Sonata got kicked out.
When did that happen?
He failed one too many times, and he will never be mentioned again.
When did Sonata getting kicked out happen? I must have missed that.
I missed it too, so I guess it's like Samoa Joe situation where they're like, he's gone. That's all.
He who shall not be named.
So the Revolution fight, the winner gets
to choose this, but it was too short.
Team with James Storm in the tag tournament.
I like this, but it was too short.
Yeah. Koya gets a stick. I'm wondering if he's going to hit Magic Missile with that stick. No, Koya uses a powerbomb to win.
Well, I mean, he hit Abyss with it.
Yeah, he did.
Just kind of stood there and watched the pinfall happen.
So then we had the thrilling conclusion to Ghost Asylum in James Storm's barn, which basically ends up with them leaving James Storm wanting them to join the Revolution. They'll have to think about it. And Storm's like, your time's up. And Abyss is like, leave! So they run off.
Leave before I introduce you to Janice.
Yep. So here comes the Rising. Drew Galloway, Eli Drake, and Micah.
Who is the son of Haku.
Yeah. Drew Galloway is addicted to wrestling.
And getting beat up by Taryn Terrell.
Yes, he is a wrestling addict. He may need a freaking fix for that. He has a fever, and it calls for more wrestling. So while he's talking about this, Orlando does the stupidest chance of hashtag stand up.
Can't they just do like they do with the Briscoes in Ring of Honor and go, stand up, stand up?
Well, they would, but they're stupid. So Mika gets in the ring, and he's like, my father told me to stand up. And I'm like, you're right, he did. Or you would lose part of your face if you didn't.
Or he'd just give you a tongue and death grip and you wouldn't be able to talk for a while.
So here comes the BDC, and what is up with everyone and their flags these days?
And MVP and Kenny King make a bad joke saying that the Rising is like a yeast infection.
Yeah. So during the commercial break, once again, they fight after Drew Galloway does a 3-2-1 count. Then we had, apparently during the commercial break, Teddy Long telepathically thanks in the six-man tag match.
It's a six-man tag match, playa.
Holla, holla,
holla. How did I get to the Impact Zone?
So yeah, Mika may be part of the Rising, but when will he be getting the group a bicycle?
Had to be a big bike.
Well,
I need $2 for them.
He is good for transportation, apparently. Drew Galloway has his own three-man band.
Except they're probably better workers than Slater and...
Maybe. So, what the hell move this Eli Drake just do?
I don't know.
I do not know what the hell that move was. Maybe it didn't look that good. I
will say that Eli Drake or Sean Ricker does have a lot of charisma.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But I have no idea what the hell that move was he did. Anyways, Masked Man shows up. It's Homicide. Beats up everyone with a nightstick.
Homicide return point 1,342.
Yep. Kurt Angle is cutting a promo when EY interrupts.
Forearm.
And he's like, mine! Mine! Mine!
We'll see about that.
So then we had... Yeah, and then we had back after the commercial break, Josh Matt's like, breaking news, Kurt Angle got beat up by EY. And I'm like, yes, we saw that.
That's not breaking news.
No, it's not. DJZ is here.
Without the rest of the bromans.
So he is facing Davey Richards.
Apparently Bunk is going to be the X Division guy now.
Yeah, he's going to try for the X Division belt. So... the best match you've seen from the Rising from this one Twitter person. This is the only match you've seen from the Rising.
Yes. And this X Division match seemed pretty okay.
And funny, we saw Davey Richards tweet about winning the X Division title while he's in the damn ring. Which, nice of him to do that.
He has like a Twitter in his pocket while he's got Zima Ion in a leg locker while he's trying to pin him.
So, nice camera. Nice finish by Davey Richards.
Tajiri kick.
The creeping death kick. So the Hardy Boys will come together.
That sounds like a better finisher for Samuel Shaw.
So then we had Peeping Cameraman who got caught, and the BDC cut promos, including Homicide, who we probably needed subtitles for.
Luckily, that was good. I don't know if I want to be a Peeping Cameraman getting caught in the BDC locker room. That might not end well.
Then we had a segment for the Dollhouse.
And they'll be debuting in either next week or in 2 weeks when they do the Knockouts Only show.
Yeah, which was kind of weird. Kind of looked like it might be a porno film or something.
Oh, boy.
Weird.
Next.
So here come the Hardys, who are my prediction as the next TNA Hall of Fame and not Steve's. Why? Because they made their name elsewhere.
It's going to be guys not in TNA right now.
No, it's going to be probably people in TNA right now, but...
That's what I said. I said either Jeff Hardy or Gail Kim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Gail Kim. I forgot about that. So, Hardy's revenge chant. He got the revenge, so why the hell are they doing that?
Because Matt Hardy wasn't there to see it.
So Hardys want the tag belts, but someone else wants them too. Trouble, trouble, trouble.
Here comes EC3.
And he talks about
not
how...
Team up with Tyrus, by the way.
No, he's not going to team up with Tyrus, because Tyrus is an idiot. He
I
teams
wonder
up with
if
Bram,
Tyrus
because Bram hates him the least.
Bram hates everybody except for the rich guy.
Yes. So
That's
Mr.
the
Anderson cuts him off, mocks Ethan for a little bit, and introduces his partner, Rockstar Spud.
The most awkward tag team ever.
Yep. Mr. Anderson and Rockstar
Rockstar
Spud. Will you stop doing that?
He's only done it once.
Well, he's done it twice. He did it before, so we get that. Then we have Austin Aries coming out and says, people are talking about greatness. I'm the greatest man that ever lived. I like gold, so I want to be tag team champion too. And my partner is Bobby Roode. So they're bringing back the Dirty Heels.
Yep. And they're going to do tag team gold next week. They're going to be four tag matches.
Destination America spoils who will win the qualifiers next week.
Do they? No, they didn't.
Yes, they absolutely did. They showed 4 teams going in an Ultimate X match, and they named the 4 teams.
I did not see that.
Yes, they did that twice.
God damn it, Destination America.
Yes, they spoiled that it would be the Hardys, the BDC, the Bringing
Ram
Back
and EC.
3, and the Dirty Heels.
Yep.
So here, main event
Damn
time.
you, Destination America.
Yeah.
How you expect to get ratings?
People already know what's going to happen. Yes. So here comes the Destroyer, Franklin. And Taz says he rode in the car with Kurt Angle while Kurt was driving.
Oh, God. And he's lived to tell about it.
Yes. This match was okay. I did not understand what the fans were chanting. They want something. Then Kurt allows EY to hit him with a pile driver.
That's good. Hit a pile driver on a man with bad neck history.
Yes. Kurt may do more suplexes in a match than Lesnar, but Lesnar's look like they hurt more.
Well, because Lesnar doesn't care.
I know. Kurt Angle wins with a moonsault.
On EY.
No, it was on Lashley. Franklin.
Yeah, because they're building up Angle and EY as a feud.
So EY being a poor sport and beating up Franklin. And I was like, oh God, EY, what is EY doing? I'm like, probably getting revenge on Franklin for putting him in the hospital.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
They did, of course.
Well, to be fair, Josh Matthews wasn't employed by the company yet.
So then they aired a commercial with all 8 teams and called it Tag Team Gold. The commercial for that. And I was like, why didn't you air that commercial?
Because they're stupid.
So gave this episode a C-.
Yes. And let's see.
I watched Russell Madness immediately afterwards. Which was absolutely fucking stupid. We had a wrestling mummy.
Didn't we already have that at one point?
WCW, yeah. The Yeti.
The early incarnation of the Dungeon of Doom.
Who won the match by beating a wrestling Bollywood guy, a wrestling pirate, and a wrestling
oh wait, Carl Roulette got a movie booking?
What?
Carl Roulette got a movie booking?
Roulette?
Burchell?
Who?
Jean-Pierre Paul Burchell?
No, it wasn't. The guy who was both the pirate and the Bollywood guy are the Bollywood Lions.
Is one of them Sanjay Dutt?
No, you remember the Bollywood Lions, Harv and Gurv Shira?
Nope.
Well, if you watched Rinka King, they were the Bollywood boys.
Nope, I never saw that.
So they were in this film. One was a pirate and one was a Bollywood wrestler. Which was kind of funny. Also, we had the WUF, the Wrestlers Union Federation, which is the equivalent of the WWE, with their boss.
Led by Raven and Mark Marrow.
Nope, led by a guy named Mick Vaughn, who was played by John Ratzenberger.
Who?
The voice of the pig in Toy Story.
Okay.
So, we also, other things we had in this match, a talking monkey who can speak human, dog, and a bunch of other languages.
This sounds like a movie that Artie Reynolds would love.
You can find wrestlers for your federation on Craigslist.
That's where I want to get wrestlers for my federation.
We had a monkey in a dress.
Can you review this movie at some point?
I basically live tweeted on Twitter. I live tweeted the whole movie on Twitter. Portland, Oregon, this was all in, home of crazy ass Billy Jack Haynes.
And Ken Patera, I believe, as well.
Yeah, we had Fred Willard in a Jim Ross looking suit. No, he did not do Jim Ross's voice.
My God!
Thank God for that. And his hit my headphones. He hit his partner on the commentary station before the match started. Before they got rehired, was a chimney sweep. We had the dog feeding people.
God,
feeding a guy named Vic Weiss,
like John Morrison.
Yes, and a guy like Dieter von Munton. We had a wrestling mummy who won the Battle Royal, like I said. So, Will Sasso was the voice of the monkey.
And Bret Hart was nowhere to be found.
No, he wasn't. The monkey knows emails, Instagrams, iPhones, and Twitter.
He's a smart little monkey.
So then they had the theme song of WrestleManiac.
WrestleManiac.
No, it's WrestleManiac.
Oh, God.
So get ready to do WrestleManiac. Oh, yeah. This movie was absolutely terrible. They have a title match where John Morrison, who is the Hammer, faces against the dog and cheats to win because he has a dog whistle. Then we had the main event where they had to wrestle in a tag match because of, the guy sold the dog away accidentally because of a clause in the contract and sold the arena. But it wasn't his to sell because someone already bought the dog before the dog ran away and went to this household. By the way, the dog reason for not getting adopted earlier, he peed on everyone who would pick him up.
Oh, God. Oh, paper train that dog.
Yes.
Sleep.
So, yes, the first thing you see is this dog peeing on a kid.
That's nice. That's fantastic.
So our tag match is with the Hammer and Dieter von Munten, who is a, Swedish guy, against Russell Maniac, the dog, and the kid. And, by the way, Russell says family is a verb. Yes, he is Kevin Nash here.
And they're all a bunch of vanilla midgets.
Mm-hmm. Then we had, because during the match, the mother is not happy that the son is wrestling, so she comes in and hits Dieter with a purse. No DQ. Kid is almost pinned. Was there a
brick in the purse?
No, there wasn't. It was just a regular purse. Kid is almost pinned, but he grabs Dieter's nose hairs to get out of it. Then the kid kicked Dieter in the balls and then gave him an atomic wedgie. Dieter is blind by this atomic wedgie that he gives the ref a wedgie.
Oh, God.
Morrison goes for Starship Pain after using the whistle again, but unfortunately for him, the dog had clogs in his ears. So he moved. He misses with Starship Pain, and the dog pins the Hammer. And even though there are no belts on the line here, the announcer calls Russell and the kid new tag champs. And there is a voiceover, and Mick yells at Hammer for losing to a dog, and Hammer responds by throwing Mick out of the ring, saying he isn't the boss of him.
Disqualification.
So then they have the fakest looking belt ever, and the voiceover says that the kid and Russell became the best tag team ever.
Mm-hmm.
That was the end of that movie.
God.
Oh, dear God. Yes.
Awful.
It is absolutely stupid.
And now I'm going to have somebody look for that for me on demand. If that's on demand.
I got it on Netflix, so it might be on demand. Dear God, they had CGI shit where the dog was having wrestling moves. So, and his finisher's called the Russell Tussle. Oh yeah, WrestleManiac also beat up a wrestling Mongol.
Mongol? Was it Nikolai Volkov?
Nope. So yeah, this movie was stupid. Monkeys. A monkey that has been around since the guy's grandfather.
That's an old monkey.
Yes, it is. He does not act old at all. So, oh God, this movie was stupid. Well, that's it for the show, I guess. Do you have anything to sell?
Well, actually, I'll go in and I'll talk about where I was last night since we didn't do a show. I was at MEW last night, and last night we saw Siler Graves go over Maximo Suave of Defiance. His partner, Chris Caden, goes over Mark Mahoney. Also, the Knucklebusters dropped the tag titles to Sonny Roselli and John the Bomb Breyer in a 2 out of 3 falls match that was probably about 10 minutes. Because the first 2 falls happened in the first 30 seconds of the match. And then we had Johnny Primer going over Callie Capone. Crash Landing going over Millman, and not Jake Millman. And your main event was Eric Johnson going over Adam Ricker to retain the MEW title. Siler Graves comes out after and sets up a triple threat match for May the 8th when MEW returns to Fairfield. And then also coming up next Saturday night, NEW, Northeast Wrestling presents Spring Slam, featuring Alberto El Patron taking on John Morrison, Matt Hardy taking on Romeo Roselli, Shane Helms will be in action, of course the Hurricane, as well as Matt Taven defending his NEW title against Warbeard Hansen, as well as Brian Anthony taking on Mikey Webb, and the reunion of Harlem Heat as well. And also on April 17th, IWE returns to Island Falls for Rage in the Cage Part 2, featuring Johnny Primer versus Crash Landing, and Sonny Roselli and John Von Breyer against the Leatherheads in a cage match. May 2nd, IWE presents Fan Appreciation Night, as Eric Johnson defends the MEW title against Siler Graves. Callie Capone takes on Mean Mark Mahoney, and much more. And then on May 1st, the night before, they will be in South Portland, featuring Johnny Torres taking on Scott Wilde, as well as Roadblock and Owen Brody taking on Johnny Primer and Callie Capone, and Siler Graves and Blade Bandit. That is it. And we will talk to you guys probably in 2 weeks.
So, Miley, we are going for a walk, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.